Hi, Matt with Navar Training here, talking about dashboards and AI. What can you do? So this is a sample database that I use for my testing and development. It's got a sample project data section with your usual things, task status, due dates. And then it has a project related to that. It has an organization area for clients, which has contacts and invoices, also related projects, etc. Okay, what I wanted to do is on my dashboard, I wanted to have information that's updated that tells me really important things that's going on with the database. So not just here's a list of projects that are in process, but these things are blocked. This is high priority. It's high priority because the dollar amount is high. And then more importantly than that, I actually wanted to consolidate the data from multiple different parts of the system and tell me the top priorities for the whole entire system. That's something that would have been completely impossible to do with FileMaker in the past. But now it's not only possible, it's actually kind of easy, especially if you come to my class like the one starting on October 20th. So how does this work? First of all, let's take a look at a little bit of testing of it. So I've got a prompt here where I can go in and I can say, changes to say the last like 10 days. Analyze the data, create a narrative, show a single short sentence, show for the top two, maybe say three, then give a count of the remaining items. And then we'll say extremely short. Okay, so we have an updated prompt. I'm going to click this button, which runs a server-side script, which is something I probably would just schedule on the server. But for now, it's actually just going to run it server-side. And then it's going to update the data for these things separately. So the way we're going to see this works is it relies on two different new functions in the new FileMaker. By the way, we see that updated right then, right? So it updates the thing to 3, and then it tells me what is remaining. After that, it actually then updated the project summary. We saw that flash, and then it tells me the most important thing that's going on here. If I went into this Nugent Law Office unpaid invoices, and then we're actually going to get to what's going on. And then I went to these invoices and say paid them. It looks like a lot of these are really unpaid, especially some really expensive ones, right? So now if I go back to this one, the balance is far less, still kind of bad. So if I were to then rerun this, then what we're going to get is that that's no longer going to be an important item. And it's doing that from, well, actually that was pretty fast, right? So now another thing came up to the top of the list. It's also looking at other things, right? Follow updates, things like that. Okay, how does it work? There's two scripts that it relies on. The first one is perform find by natural language. And the second one is generate response from model. Let's start up here. The first thing that it needs to do in each of these cases is go get data that matches, but rather than having it run by a manual FileMaker search like I would have done in the past, it just does it with the prompt. So I put in text, I would make this user accessible, find the projects where this is true. It's active, the target date, search for those two fields, etc. I give that information. Then I get the result by using my perform find in a JSON array, right? So I get my response from the target is goes to a variable that I call org.json. And then here it says get found set as JSON as opposed to found set. So you can use the found set one to kind of make sure that everything is right, which is why I have that here in testing. So you run that, and what you get back is a big block of JSON that has information about those found records. That's actually really cool all by itself. Then you say, okay, I'm going to take that data. I'm going to task the assistant that I have, which is generative AI, and tell it what it's supposed to do. It's say, hey, this is some JSON data. Take a look at it and do some specific things, format the data looking like this. Not really very involved. I actually do much, much more involved system prompts when I teach in my class. Then it says generate a response that says go ahead and do that, and then take the result of that analysis, and then it's going to then show that on the dashboard. So basically it just does that first for the organization, then for the project, and then the third script takes a look at those two sets of data and then compares them with another prompt that says, you take the data from these and come up with a sentence that's really, really important for it. So not really a lot. I mean, there's a lot to it more than that, right? So I spent a lot of time playing and testing and thinking about this. And not only can it do the text responses, but you can also have it pretty easily generate graphical charts, and because it can return results in HTML and JavaScript and tons of other things. So this is a really powerful widget and a feature for FileMaker dashboards going forward, and I am excited to share.